Hey guys, welcome back. Hey, I've got a question today. If you had a choice, which one of the following three cars would you pick for your own personal use? Taking into consideration price, styling. In the case of two of the cars that I'm going to show you, they're used. So color, interior layout, everything. Would it be this one, the F430 Ferrari Spider? Or could it be this one, the Ferrari 458 Spider? Or maybe it'll be the C8 Corvette. You know, over the last year or so, I've been wanting to get a sports car. I've thought about it for a long time. I know it's impractical. I really shouldn't be getting one at my age. That kind of thing, but I just have gotten the urge to do it. So in order to do it, I'm going to have to get rid of at least one of my cars. I don't have the room to add another one. So I'm probably going to get rid of between 3 and 4 vehicles this year to make room for a sports car. So the question is, what car should I get? You know, going back, I'm thinking about 44 years ago, it would be 1978 when I got my first glimpse of the Ferrari 308. I thought to myself, oh, what a gorgeous car. And the Corvette of 1978, my gosh, it made it look old, that Ferrari. So over the years, I've kind of followed the design progress of Ferraris, and I've always, in the back of my mind, had a soft spot for them. But again, it's exclusive, and with exclusive comes a price tag. So I kind of, you know, how am I going to do that? And the other one was the Corvette. And I've owned a Corvette in the past. I had a 1985 that I bought in 87. So I enjoyed the Corvette when I had it. It was a target top, had the 4+3 transmission, which I wasn't crazy about. It was 4-speed manual plus a 3-speed mini automatic. It's kind of a funky transmission. But at least at the time I could afford it. So now my choice is, do I get a new Corvette? I think they're fantastic. That mid-engine, everything about it. Dual clutch automatic and all of the technology that's in that car. Or do I look for a used Ferrari? The F430, if you bought an F430 now, it's similar in price to a decked out Corvette. But again, you're looking at a vehicle that was built from like 2005 to 2009. The styling still looks fairly fresh. I still enjoy the style of the F430. Or I could step up to the 458 Ferrari, which is like an icon now. It's a gorgeous car. It's just that the price of the 458 today is kind of out of my reach. It would be a real stretch for me to get into one of those cars. I'd have to find just the perfect deal on the low end and yet being a good car to get into one of those. And those were made from, like, I would want the Spider, which is the convertible, and those were made from like 2011 to 2015. I mean, that would be probably my dream car. But then we can step back into reality and practicality, and the Corvette is probably my best bet. I mean, it's nicely styled, plenty of performance, and a lot of technology. So the first car we'll take is the F430. It was designed by Pininfarina. I think it got most of its styling cues from the 360 Modena, except they freshened up the front end, made it look a little fresher, the headlight treatment especially, and the rear tail is freshened up and made to look more like an Enzo rear end, and I really like the treatment of that. It's got the same horsepower as the Vette, 490 horse, flat plane crank, tremendous performer. You know, it's a soft top Spider, so it has the canvas top, which I'm not crazy about, but the way they designed that top, it's sort of scooped around the center glass of the trunk area, well, the rear end area, which underneath housed the engine. So even with the top up, you could see through that glass into that beautiful engine. It's just a gorgeous sight. So with the F430 being an older car, to find a good used car is going to take some effort, because there are some known issues that can arise with that vehicle. One of them are the motor mounts. They can tend to fail. They're made of rubber. Number two, they've had problems with the exhaust manifolds and brackets. They can crack, and if you get a piece of cracked manifold going through the engine somehow, it can be devastating to the engine. And of course it has an F1, what they call the F1 transmission, which is a single clutch automatic. They've been known to fail. You got to drive that car carefully, or you're going to wear that clutch out very quickly. And they cost, I think the last I checked, between $7,000 and $8,000 to get that clutch replaced. So there's a trick to driving that car to preserve the life of that clutch. And there's also been problems with the hydraulic pumps and the hoses, the whole gamut with the F1 transmission, which also kind of includes the E differential, which is an electronic differential in that car, which also can present problems. So there's quite a few things that you have to be on the lookout for. So the car I really would like would be that 458 Spider. By then they had gone to a hardtop convertible, and the horsepower was bumped to 570, so it had a ton of performance. It looked great, probably one of the nicest looking Ferraris that was ever made. But like the F430, there's problems you have to watch out for with the 458 also. I had a few jotted down. 2010, 2011, you have to watch out for transmission failures. But in 2012, Ferrari issued a new software for the transmission, so any, like 2012 and beyond, you should be okay. Then there was a recall that affected the 2011 and 2012s for a faulty crankshaft. That doesn't sound too good. And hopefully, if you're going to find a used one, that some of these recalls have already occurred on the car you're looking at. There was a recall for the 2010s and the 2014s for a trunk latch problem. And then I believe it was 2010 when they had an adhesive problem in the rear fenders. Apparently the glue that they used could overheat from the engine compartment and cause the car to catch fire. So that wouldn't be good either. And there was some roof problems reported in some of the Spiders because the mechanism can jam or it actually leaks. And then there was an airbag recall too for the passenger side. So even the 458 has problems again. You know, the last built one was 2015. So these cars are starting to age a little bit. And the other thing for me, I'm not near any type of Ferrari service center. Some of the closest ones to me would be New Jersey, or I think there's one in Ohio. So it's not like heading to the Chevy dealer and getting the car fixed. But there's just something about the mystique of that Ferrari brand. It's just, because they're so expensive, they're very exclusive. There's not a lot around. They never made a whole lot. It's not like the Corvettes where they're making 20 to 30,000 a year. But there's something about the mystique of that car. And every time I see that horsey, either on the steering wheel or on the side of the car, on those shields, or the horsey in the back, it touches a nerve for some reason, and it's like you're drawn to it. Which brings us to the Corvette. For the money, I don't think the car can be beat. I mean, it's a pretty nice design, style-wise. There's some things that I wouldn't mind if they touched up or changed a little bit. But the performance, and I think the interior, which is one of the nicest interiors I have ever seen. And I'd prefer it over the Ferrari's interiors, at least of the F430 and the 458. The only thing that comes close to it is in the Stradale or the new Roma. Otherwise, I think Chevy knocked it out of the ballpark with that interior. There's so much technology in this car. I mean, first, mid-engine Corvette, dual clutch automatic transmission. It's so much technology that's built into it, including that front end lift that you can get. It's got a PDR, which is a performance data recorder. It's like you can take a trip or go to the track and record everything that you're doing. You've got the rear vision camera, so your rear view mirror is like a standard mirror, or you can use the little slide button and it turns into a rear view camera, which I think eliminates almost all of your blind spots, and you can see exactly what's going on behind you. I love the convertible. I love the window between the buttresses that's powered. So you have magnetic ride suspension, you have heads-up display, you have heated and cooled seats. I mean, the car is loaded, and you can get a well-optioned Corvette for about $90,000. I mean, well-optioned. I mean, F430 Ferrari, you're probably looking at $120,000 to $170,000. And the 458, you're probably looking at about $170,000 to $270,000 to buy these used cars on the open market now. So probably the sensible thing to do is to buy the Corvette. If you order one now, you've got waiting times between 12 months and 24 months to get a new one. You can buy them used still right now, but a lot of times you're going to be paying more for that used car than you would if you bought it new. So the Corvette doesn't hold a lot of mystique for me. It's not exclusive. There's a lot of them on the road versus the Ferraris, which have a mystique for me. They still have a certain intangible draw that I can't explain. It's something about that Ferrari name, that brand. So this would be the last non-practical car I'll ever own. It's like a once-in-a-lifetime thing for me to own either a Ferrari or the Corvette. So I would actually be proud to own any of these three cars. Each one is a work of art in its own right. And besides the driving that I would do with the cars, most of the time they'd be in my garage on display, which I would enjoy every day. I enjoy looking at these cars as much as driving them. As a matter of fact, I get kind of nervous driving anymore now at my age, and it's just, I'd rather have that peace of just being able to look at those cars and enjoy them. So there's my dilemma. I want to know which one you guys would pick. Keep in mind, my number one choice would probably be the 458 Ferrari. However, it scares me with what they cost, and I would have to do a little financing or whatever to actually get in one of those cars. The F430 is probably more money. It's going to be more money than buying a brand new Corvette. And the Corvette's probably the most practical thing to purchase. So let me know what you guys think. And even choose a color. I mean, I'm always curious to see what the colors are that people pick. And then I'll talk to you real soon.